Hi, this is part two of Roger's Big R drums customization. I'm taking a tom 14-inch by, I did measure it this time, 14-inch by 10, and turning it into a snare drum. So I left you with this. Now, it is drying. There's two levels of veneer on this. Since the last video, part one, I have literally put in about at least 10 more hours sanding this thing down again. I just got to a point where, we're in confinement, so, why not make it as good as possible? And I had gotten all the swirls out, I thought. But I initially was more interested in getting all the zigzags that you get from sanding, and especially getting all the lines that I had created to get them to be the same depth. I had ones that were a little bit more profound than others, so I did the unthinkable. I sanded first to see if I can get them off. I got a little bit, but I was sitting there looking at it like, how can I do this and not destroy it? Because every step you have to have so much patience. If you're not in the mood and you don't have that patient button turned on, you're gonna screw it up and it's gonna make you so mad. So I had a moment here, and I got out my iron and water, and with my finger I topped on the whole thing and took a hot iron, and what that does, it's awesome. The water seeps into the wood, and you could let it dry, but the fact that you're heating up the water, I guess the evaporation helps lift up all of the wood. So if you ever have like a nick or something in a floor or a table, you can do the same thing. You put a little drop of water on there, let it soak in, and then use a hot iron, and the evaporation process will lift up the little marks. Now you got to be careful, obviously, because you don't want to do too much and lift up the glue, right? That'd be terrible. So I did that to the whole thing, just little by little by little. It took me about 2 hours to do it correctly. Then when you when you do that, it leaves not burnt marks, but it leaves a residue of where you were at. So I had to sand it all back down again. I've sanded it 1,000 times, and then you put it up. I have a little spot here. I put it up and I look at it while the rest of life goes by, and and every once in a while I go to like say, I can't believe I missed that spot, and you go back and you got to sand it back down again. And then depending on the light, you see stuff and then you don't see stuff, and then you start seeing crazy stuff, But once you get to a spot where it's hard to see, where your eyes start playing tricks on you, and you forget where that part was, where that little zigzag was, or where that little spiral was, you're getting really good. It was so, I was forgetting where they were all at. I just couldn't go at it, that I took out a piece of chalk and was look at it and circle it and turn and circle it. And I did that about 4 times. If you can imagine that, 4 times, each an hour session each, basically, and got the lines right and pulled, did everything I needed to do. And depending on the light, you still see little marks. I mean, you got to be like literally like this close to see them. And this is like, I don't know if you can see, you got to be like that close. Because I just, at some point you just got to say, okay, I can deal with that. But if you're this far away, you can't see them, nothing. You can't see anything. It's just straight lines. Looks like the wood is perfect. Remember, this was originally covered, so it's not going to be like, a drum that was intentionally made to see this texture. Anyway, so there it is. It's drying now. This is the second level of veneer. I'm very happy with it now. And as you can see, you might have noticed on this drum, I put the holes. Oh my Lord. Try not to touch the shell very much because it's drying. Right there, right there. Now, I'm going to put this down, let it dry. The holes were scary as heck to put in because it's one of those things where you do them and you don't mess up. Because if you mess up by a millimeter, it's off. It's so scary. And at some point, you just have to have confidence in your measurements and stuff. And so I got the drill gun out, and I was literally like crying and like, and that's it. Because I was also thinking like, what am I going to do if I do mess up? How can I cover this up? Blah 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 blah. I didn't. It works. I set it all up. Awesome. What I want to show you today, it's not so much about that drum. It's about the hardware, and two things for sure. I want to show you. I learned a new trick that is just awesome. I learned a new trick to get these beaver tails really nice and shiny. Look at that. You can even see it. I mean, check out the other video. They look unbelievable. From this far away, cameras can't pick up the little pitting. What you do, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me, that can't work. What you do, because I wanted to make them nice and shiny, you get some water WD-40 and tin foil, and you rub it on the chrome. You can even use this process in your car. So I got a roll of tin foil, WD-40. They were already like bathed in it and water, and the process not oxidizes, but it creates a chemical reaction similar to polishing with the rust and the metal and the tin foil. So I did it to all of them, and they're all unbelievably shiny now. There is pitting. When you come up real close to it, you'll see it. But this far away, you can see in a camera, I don't even know if you can see the pitting in this. Look at that. So I had 16 of them. I did it to all 16 of them. They're beautiful. Beautiful. I'm so happy with that. So I saved each one of these brand new is about 15 euros. 14 euros, 15 euros. So you can see how that adds up. There's 18 of them. I'm sorry, 16 of them. 8 on top, 8 on bottom, times 15, that adds up a lot. Rims can be about 10 to 20, even more so if you're getting serious gauge rims. I didn't get serious gauge rims. I noticed that on the Dynasonics, the gauge is not incredibly big. 2.3 or 1 point, I think it's actually the smaller version, the smaller gauge. People, talking about hardware, it's so important. It has such an impact on the drum because when you have heavy hardware and heavy rims and die-cast rims, and it will literally take the sound, the vibration, and stop it. It gets to that heavy hardware and it stops moving. It's like a trend now to have this heavy tank kind of hardware on drums. And look at it's big and bulky. But actually, no, it's going to sound like you're hitting a brick. That sounded actually much cooler than a brick. But anyway, it might be cool for recording, and I think that's why it's still in trend. But when you're playing live, the resonance of the drum is so important to your inspiration. And this takes me to a story of Jeff Porcaro. Jeff Porcaro used to say that engineers hated him. I'm sure they loved him, but anyway, he used to say they hated him because he would let the drums resonate at a gig. Why? Because the resonant drums inspire you to play. If you're playing a guitar and it's going what are you going to be inspired to play? You're not going to be inspired to play AC/DC with right? So the whole idea is that you tune your drums up to the sound that you want, and that helps you play them. So he would say that the engineers hated him. He would have them open. almost no, tape, and it was the engineer's job to take that sound and make it commercial. But what Jeff Porcaro was interested in was being inspired to play, and that one of the key things is to have resonating drums. It's no longer like that today. It drives me up the wall. Anyway, so step 2. These are these awesome beaver tail lugs. I'm just so happy with them. I did this today. It was just unbelievable. This I got in the mail. I got Rogers Swivo-Matic clock face, and this is what this video is going to be about. This hardware and the clock face strainer. Clock face body, 4.5 inches from bottom to top of handle, mounting hole spacing. They tell you all that stuff. It is scary business drilling holes in vintage drums. It is scary. I mean, it was scary, but I didn't mess up. I had done it in the past and I messed up, not on this drum or another one, but it was okay. I didn't mess up on this one. For the butt plate on the strainer, I just picked up, I wanted a good one. This is a pearl. You can see here, it's a standard heavy-duty chrome, but small. There's a Gibraltar one that's larger and it's thinner, but it just it was too large. It was probably like twice as big as this, and it came out of the shell too much. And I said in a past video, you have bulky hardware, it can catch on your bag and stuff. I don't want that. So this is perfectly fine. It's Pearl hardware is really good. At least it was in the 90s. Some of the best, and it still is to this day. Gibraltar too. Now, 1 second. I'm going to pause this. Hold on. I'll be right back. Thanks for waiting. Anyway, the Swivo-Matic, right? If you see that, this is the new one. I could have bought the old one. I wanted a new one. Before I show you the Swivo-Matic, though, this is your typical strainer. It's in a fashion of a Ludwig. It's without a mark, a company name. It's serious strainer. All the metal, the gauge is really heavy. And this part especially, right? It looks like a Ludwig, like a beefed up Ludwig strainer. This part that you think might be plastic in the video is actually, they dipped it in rubber. This is actually inside there. There's a piece of metal. This is your classic one. The top here is metal. All of it is. Now, when you look inside, there's a spring. Maybe you can see that. There's a spring and there's rivets. There's a lot of little pieces in there. Spring and a rivet. The spring is right underneath this thing. And this is the typical way strainers work. There's this shape here, right? One pulls. You can see how this works, right? This is open. This is closed. Now it goes down, but you got to remember this is blocked. So when you pull, this is down. Oh, that goes up. Now, this is the one I made the mistake with on another drum. I drilled the holes without putting on the rim and head like a stupid person, and I realized the mistake I made when I put it on. It actually was hitting the rim. Ugh. So I didn't make the same mistake twice. And you put on the rim. Don't drill the holes before you get the product. Put on the rim. Put on the head. I didn't put on the lugs. I could have, but I didn't need to. If you know how deep the head sinks in from experience, it's okay. So I did that and lined it up, and it all worked out beautifully. There it is. This is the clock face Rogers Swivo-Matic, right after the one made in, I guess, 1975. Brand new. Brand spanking new. Now, I was looking at this thing. It's heavy. This is, you know, I feel like I want to throw like a baseball. This is heavy. It's awesome. What is so cool about this? Well, I'm going to take it apart. I'm going to show you. I do this all the time, taking apart stuff. I like to see what it is, what's inside, how's it working. And that, I mean, that it's just like driving a car. When you know how the car works, when what you do, you know what you're doing, you'll drive it better. Because you'll imagine the interaction of the gears and the clutch and the stick and all that stuff, you know, especially a mechanic. Mechanics are typically very good drivers because they know exactly what's going on when they're doing it. So anyway, it's very good to do this stuff. So you take it apart. Now look, I was thinking like springs and crap, I gotta be careful, it's gonna shoot all over the place. No. Yeah, those are 2 screws, it's okay. This is the inside of the Swivo-Matic. Now this part is the back. That's the back, goes onto the shell, like this. And that's the main part. Like that. There's no spring, there's no moving parts. There's no rivets, there's no rivets. Here's the arm. There's a little loose washer right here. That's not a rivet, it's just a little loose washer. But nothing's riveted. It's all screwed in. Big chunky piece of metal. This, yeah, you know, you see that? See the little lip, the lip right there? It's right there. This turns now. Sorry. Make it look better for you. That's inside. There's the lip. Put it on there. That's what we're looking at inside. Nothing. No rivets. What's this? Here's the other plate. It's literally pieces. Now, the first one's so funny. Some of the chrome came off right there on the back end. I can fix it. I'm not going to. It's on the back. It's okay. But the piece of metal is serious. The serious piece of metal. It looks like it's like bigger than a poker chip. And this is a serious piece of metal. So I'm not worried about it at all. But it's funny. I think even the old ones, the way the chrome processing, the process of doing the chrome is probably better. I don't know. It doesn't matter because I know how to restore that. Anyway, there you go. But this is all it is. So what do you got? You got this piece, the arm, this plate. Where are the rivets? Where's the spring? Remember? This one. Shoot. I'm excited. Look, remember? There's a spring in there. Right? There's a spring to help you pull it back up. There's the rivets. This is the inside. You can't take that off. It's stuck there. There's a little, what's that called? Not a clamp. I forget what that's called. It's like a washer that stretches and it goes in place. Where is this with the Swivo-Matic? This is the other end. I wasn't hiding anything. Look at this. There's nothing in there. This part right here is held on. I can turn it a little bit, but it's held on with the bolt. And at the end of that bolt, it does look like a rivet they kind of peeled back and around. Not moving. Not moving. You know? Where's the spring? Where's the mechanical part? How does this work? It's not every day you get to see the inside of a Swivo-Matic, so I'm super excited about this. It's basically, they just designed it to follow a path. They cut away this, you can see this thing right here. They cut this away, and when you move, it follows this little lip here, follows this path, and the tension helps it stay in place. Right there, there's a little lip right there. It goes whoop, whoop, like that right there. That's all it is. That is all it is. Now, why is that so cool? No rivets, it's not going to break. No springs, nothing to replace. The fact that there's not this thing going on, right? This part right here, this extra sound and stuff. no sound. It just falls right into place. It's probably the quietest strainer I've ever seen, ever heard before. I remember having an awesome strainer on my stop sign brass Gretsch drum, stop sign badge, and it was one of the things where it went like that. It was just a piece that was hanging out, and you just pressed on the arm, and it went clank on the side of the drum, which I enjoyed, but still, in a concert, it'd be really loud. This is super silent. So, do you see all this? This is nothing. I mean, this is amazing. And I guess this is probably why they pride themselves on it so much. So watch this and put it back together. All right? Remember, this is the inside. That's all there is, baby. Look at that. Amazing. Put this on there. They had to think about this. Put this there. You don't even have to line it up. I'm just going to put it in here. Am I stupid? No. Okay. Like this. Yeah, I am. This part right here, which I forgot to show you. This part, it's basically like a sandwich. This is the part that goes onto the drum. Then you're gonna have, is this right? Yeah, goes like this, and then you sandwich it like that. That's what I'm gonna do. So I just got this part there. Okay. It was easier without these screws. I'm going to take these screws off and it'll sit properly. But it's just, I was looking at it because I'd never seen one before, and I was really curious to know, like, what's so big about the strainer? So here we go. Put it in there. That's the back end, the butt end. Put this down. Like that. Put this on. Boom. Flip this around. Is this the right? No. I'm so excited. I can barely. I've already put this on. So I know how. I tested it out. And it works great. But look at this. It's just. Where's my other screw? Dun, dun, dun. It was in there. It's like looking for your glasses when they're on top of your head. Right? All right. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't even need to do this, but I just do it so I don't lose it. No spring, no moving parts, no rivets. They just, again, innovative. Let's sit down and look at this and say, how can we make this better? How can we make it simpler? And there you go, back to normal. Now, you can't even hear that, probably, right? You can't. There's no noise. I can literally, if I'm quiet, I can't even make it. It just falls right in there. Now, I should actually do it like this because that's what it's going to be like. No noise. That's it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Really, really well thought out. Again, no rivets, no springs, no nothing. No metal, no plastic parts. No rubber gaskets. Even the top part here, I see when you look here, up inside there, it looks like they had the bolt and they manufactured the top on there. Not a big deal because it looks like it's good metal. That's it. Swivo-Matic. Just freaking simple, heavy duty, unbelievable. I can't wait to put it on and actually see it in action. Here are the packs of Gibraltar tension rods that came. 2-inch 6-pack tension rods, and good to go. So it's not every day you see a Swivo-Matic on the inside, and what is the big deal about this? And there it is, you just saw it. This is the Swivo-Matic Rogers reissue strainer that I'm putting on my drum. So stay with me again. The next step is I'm in the process of veneering the drum. I already sanded down the bed. You can barely probably even see it. Dun, dun, dun. There it is right there. You can't even see it on the... I did it a little bit. Yeah, you can right there. Which helps, again, it helps the strainer fall in. I did it very, very lightly. Now I could go back. I'm going to check it out. I better to do a little now and then more later than to do too much now. But I did it enough. A very long sanding process. I mean, like from here to here, I slowly went in. The whole point is if it's too drastic, then the head is not going to tune properly. It's going to crimp up around this spot. So it's nice to have a very gradual bed. So we'll see. I'm going to see how that works. But there's 2 holes there. Basically put them in line with the bottom end of the tuning lugs, which would be like this, right? And butt end. Well, this is only 2 holes, typical for the Swivo strainer, right? And there you go. More coming up soon. More. Check it out. I'm so happy with this. So again, more about Swivo-Matic inside. Unbelievable strainer. Cheers to everybody. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Eat well. And watch for the next video. Ciao.